Having lived personally in the UK for 40 years and now here in France for 15, I have come to the conclusion that the main difference between English-speaking countries like the UK and US, of course, and the French is actually dessert. In the Anglophone world, it's cakes, pies, crumbles, pudding, something that's often quite heavy. But here in France, it's more refined, perhaps, patisserie, of course, something that my guest today, I'm sure, is very aware of. David Lebovitz is an American pastry chef and author who lives and works here in France. He's got a newly revised book as well, ready for dessert. It's nice and thick, which is always a good sign, isn't it? Thanks very much for coming in and talking. You bought us something as well.
Yes, I brought you cookies because I know that everybody likes cookies, especially in France. But the nomenclature is kind of interesting in France. People say cookies for chocolate chip cookies. They're petit gâteaux, little cakes.
These are like, they're kind of like halfway between the two, aren't they? I'm going to eat one.
Oh, okay.
You take them, and you don't need to eat one because you eat them all the time, I know. Am I right, though? I mean, is there a division between Anglophone desserts and French desserts, do you think?
Well, there is, in some ways, you know, to me, the pastry world is very global. Even desserts that are like American desserts, like pie, it uses pâte brisée, which is a French concept. So there's a lot of crossover. Living here, I've gotten used to baking both. Certain things the French, when I moved here in around 2003, carrot cake was a very weird concept. And people...
I love carrot cake.
We love carrot cake. Well, everyone likes the frosting. And French people were a little wary. They would be apprehensive about it. And I would say, well, carrots are very good for you. And they're like, oh, c'est bon, ça va. So once they got permission to eat it. But now you see carrot cake in bakeries here, brownies, chocolate chip cookies.
So since you moved here, have you changed the kind of desserts that you're doing? Have you moved more towards French desserts or...?
Well, I went to school here. I went to pastry school at École de Notes, and I went to chocolate school at Valrhona, so I was pretty well-versed in French desserts, but my training was also in food that's very simple. You know, I went to school and I learned how to make all those fancy gâteaux. And what's interesting about France is for people who don't live here, they often think, well, everyone bakes at home. Like, well, most people go to the bakery to get pastries, but then the stuff they make at home is very simple. And I like to do the stuff that people can make at home because I'm sharing recipes. So my recipes tend to be much simpler home-style French cooking nowadays. That's what we like to eat.
This is absolutely amazing, by the way. I'm going to get coconut stuck in my throat, but I'll do my best. You do a mean eel flottante as well, which, if you don't know eel flottante, it's something that's very sort of unique, I suppose, to French cuisine.
Well, it's kind of like œuf mayonnaise. Trying to explain that to a foreigner, they're like, it's eggs with mayonnaise and it's really good. They're like, oh.
Really?
But, yeah, you're like, I love that. And when you live here, you start craving those things. And eel flottant is one of those typically, it's something that is very French. It's crème anglaise with meringue and caramel, caramelized nuts on top. And as we were discussing before we started, a little behind the scenes, look, we were saying if it's done badly, it's not such a great dessert.
Plastic.
But it's not that hard to make really well, and it's my favorite. Whenever I see it on the menu, that's what I order in France.
Okay. If it's a good quality one, I completely agree with you.
I only eat good quality.
Do you have a preference? I mean, do you prefer those little fine French patisseries, or are you more into puddings and cakes, or is it anything goes?
I'm pretty simple with my taste. Like when I go to a bakery and I buy a dessert, I generally buy something like a chocolate eclair. I think those are the kind of things that the French do really well. Sometimes when people get too inventive, it gets a little messy. And you have brilliant people like Pierre Hermé that can do like a vanilla tart. And you're like, vanilla tart? And it's delicious. It's amazing. Because he understands, put the flavor forward. And same with chocolate. When you go to a chocolate shop here, like if you get a traditional chocolate, it can be really amazing. But then if I had a chocolate once that had capers and anchovies in it.
Oh, okay.
And there are some places where
it's like maybe not, maybe not. How do you get away with it? France is the home of cooking, isn't it? I mean, are people not a little bit skeptical, thinking, who's this American coming over here and telling us how to cook?
Yes, that actually, when I moved here, that happened a lot to me. People would try to explain French cuisine to me, how to cook. They would explain ingredients, and I would just nod and go, and I was very fortunate because I worked at Chez Panisse in Berkeley, California. You know, our food was very French. You know, it was French Provençal cooking, cuisine du marché. So I had a very thorough knowledge of ingredients, especially French ingredients. I knew all the different salads, the lettuces, the fruits, the pastries, and I'd made a lot of actually sort of obscure French recipes like Bavarians with chartreuse. And French people, you know how to do that? And I'm like, yeah, of course, you know, chartreuse. So I would gain a lot of trust from people, and especially in the pastry world, because I would go into bakeries and talk to the chefs. And at first, you know, I was this dopey, I'm still the dopey American, but as a dopey American, they would screw up the French, you know, it's French verbs and so forth. And then I started talking about pastry, and they knew that, and I would appreciate what they did. And the people who are really masters here in France are very open and accepting. So I was very thrilled to be accepted by people, and they appreciated me.
9 books now, but you're also credited with being one of the world's first ever bloggers, aren't you? You did your first blog, your first internet, 1999. I mean, where did the inspiration, the idea for that come from?
I was living in San Francisco at the time, you know, a very tech-forward city. We were always, you know, we were early adopters, and I started this blog. My first book came out, and I thought, this is, be careful what you wish for. It's like giving people your cell phone number on the phone. Right now, it's, you know, I said, well, I'd love people to get in touch with me if they have questions about the recipes. So that's a be careful what you wish for moment, because I started getting a lot more readers and a lot more messages and comments and so forth. And people thought I was wasting my time. They didn't know what a blog was. French people were very wary of the internet in those days. They would tell me it would steal my soul, and I would laugh at them. And then now I realize they were right.
They were right, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
But it became a really great way to connect with people, and also to, I don't know the right word in English, but show people. I would go to little places in Paris that weren't getting press, like small chocolate shops, like Patrick Roger at the time, Jean-Charles Rochoux, people that, you know, they were just making really good chocolates, and I'd write about them, and it was great because people would they'd come to Paris and they'd get to see and learn about all these other places.
You've revised the book, haven't you? Why? What's in it? What's new?
Because I don't have enough work to do now. Well, what happened was, you know, recipes change over the years when you make something. Like, you probably have recipes you make at home, and every time you make them every year, you're like, oh, well, I'm going to make this different, or I'm going to add this. And as a baker, I'm always changing things. And also in America, what's become available now is so much different. You can get French butter. You can get all these ingredients you couldn't get. But I also, living in France, I wanted to add French recipes to the book. So I added the maple tart from Tapisserie Pastry Shop, which is probably one of the best desserts in the world.
Well, sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, skip probably. It's one of the best desserts in the world. So I wanted that recipe in the book. And other French classics like Floating Island, Palais Breton, these Rocher Coco, which are dipped in chocolate.
The chocolate is amazing, and the cocoa is amazing.
My partner was freaking out. I was taking these away.
You know, I don't think he's going to get any of those. I suspect you may not be allowed out of the building before they've all gone. Well, it's great to meet you and great to have you on the programme. David, thanks very much for coming in. This is the book, Ready for Dessert, then the revised issue, and I shall quietly finish the rest of my noix de coco.
Just make sure you share with the rest of the staff. I want to get invited back.
Well, no, he only brought in one. He only brought in one, honestly. Thanks again. David Lebovitz joining us. Thanks.